Europe contends with a debate over euthanasia and the right to die. The first of a multi-part series that takes a look at climate change and the resulting climate crisis. These are today's stories, and this is The Normal Show.
Buongiorno, sono Marco Micheli. Dopo l'approvazione di una legge sull'eutanasia attiva in Spagna, anche in Francia si è riaperto il dibattito politico sul fine vita. Una nuova proposta di legge però ha già incontrato i primi ostacoli e soprattutto la contrarietà del Ministro della Sanità, che ritiene poco opportuno parlare di eutanasia in tempi di Covid-19. Questo è The Normal Show.
Il Senato aveva già discusso, senza successo, un disegno di legge socialista sull'eutanasia. L'8 aprile, però, un nuovo disegno di legge che autorizza l'eutanasia è stato presentato all'Assemblée nationale. Secondo i sondaggi di opinione, la maggioranza dei francesi è favorevole. Dopo la legge Leonetti del 2005, che stabilisce il diritto di lasciar morire, la legge Claeys-Leonetti del 2016 autorizza la sedazione profonda e continua fino alla morte. I sostenitori di una legge apposita per l'eutanasia la ritengono però necessaria poiché l'attuale legislazione dipende dalla presenza di alcune condizioni come la nutrizione artificiale, l'idratazione artificiale o la ventilazione assistita. Ma, dicono, in questo modo non tutte le sofferenze potrebbero essere alleviate. Il nuovo disegno di legge creerebbe un diritto all'eutanasia per le persone affette da una patologia incurabile. Il presidente Emmanuel Macron è rimasto in silenzio sulla questione dall'inizio del suo mandato. Non ha preso alcun impegno ufficiale sul tema durante la campagna del 2017. Si era limitato a richiamare il rispetto della legge Claeys-Leonetti. Tuttavia, l'allora candidato aveva espresso la volontà personale di scegliere come finire la propria vita. Nonostante la legge, però, non tutte le domande sulla fine del ciclo vita hanno ricevuto risposta. Il lavoro della scrittrice Humbert, morta il 2 ottobre 2017 in Belgio, su sua richiesta, o la battaglia legale sul caso di Vincent Lambert, avevano riaperto la discussione. Nel 2017, l'89% dei francesi si era dichiarato favorevole a un'evoluzione della normativa sul fine vita. Il 18% si era espresso per la legalizzazione del suicidio assistito, il 47% per la legalizzazione dell'eutanasia e il 24% per la legalizzazione di entrambi. L'11% degli intervistati si era dichiarato contrario a una modifica della legislazione. Nel 2018, su Le Monde, 156 deputati, per lo più appartenenti alle file di La République En Marche, il partito della maggioranza, e del presidente Macron, rivendicavano il diritto per i cittadini di scegliere come finire la propria vita. Sono soltanto 4 i paesi dell'Unione Europea ad aver legalizzato l'eutanasia: i Paesi Bassi, il Belgio, il Lussemburgo e più recentemente la Spagna. Anche il Portogallo aveva nei mesi scorsi approvato una legge di legalizzazione dell'eutanasia, ma il Presidente della Repubblica, conservatore, ne aveva chiesto una verifica costituzionale. La Corte Costituzionale aveva quindi rinviato la legge al Parlamento portoghese per apportare delle modifiche.
To read more about this and other reported stories from Marco Micheli, go to micheli.medium.com. You like what you see? Well, be sure to like and subscribe so you can always be kept abreast of everything that we've got going on here at The Normal Show. And be sure to join us at thenormalshow.tv.
Forse avete perso qualcuno degli episodi recenti, ma non vi preoccupate, li abbiamo raccolti in una versione più lunga. Questo è The Normal Show.
No, these are not images from the latest Marvel movie. Though they do seem like the kind of big blockbuster end of the world scenario that we come to expect from major movie studios. No, this is where we live. Welcome to Venice, Italy. Los Angeles, Sydney, London. Now more than ever, climate change has reared its ugly head like a cresting wave, ready to wipe humanity clean from the plane of existence. And the front lines are drawn here, in Paris.
Every minute we have 13 deaths caused by exposure to air pollution. The benefits of tackling the causes of climate change could be that if you reduce air pollution, if you reach the recommendations of WHO in terms of levels for particulate matter 2.5, we could reduce by 80% the number of deaths that are occurring every year.
The climate crisis is a code red for humanity, and the fate of the SDGs hangs in the balance. We have what it takes to turn things around, but it will take each and every one of us. Thank you for leading the way. Thank you for reaffirming the private sector's critical role and responsibility in this vital shared effort, united in the business of a better world.
What a marvel planet Earth is. With its clear blue seas and long, pristine beach promenades, its open skies and balanced ecosystem. Until you realize that all of that may very soon be no more. Some may argue these very natural disasters are actually man-made. That's humanity's ever-growing carbon footprint continues its stranglehold on Earth's worsening climate. And now, according to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or the IPCC, we've passed the red line of reversing the damage done to our planet.
Hi, I am Rafik Hamdi. I'm working at the Royal Meteorological Institute of Belgium, and I am lead author of the latest IPCC climate report. When it comes to climate change, we are especially concerned about cities and urban area, because today cities are home to 55% of the world's population, and this number is increasing, and every year cities welcome 67 million new residents. 90% of these people are moving to cities in developing countries, and by 2030 we expect almost 60% of the world's population to live in urban area. What is unique for cities and urban area is that they experience air temperature that can be several degrees Celsius warmer than the surrounding rural area, and especially during the night. So this effect is called the urban heat island effect, and it results from several factors, including reduced ventilation and from heat trapping because of the tall buildings that are packed close together. It originates from the heat directly from the human activities, and also due to the heat absorbing properties of concrete and other urban building material, and of course from the limited amount of vegetation in cities. So during heat waves, the urban heat island get intensified, and therefore the cities exacerbate the hot extremes. Additionally, we have high confidence that flooding from heavy rainfall will increase in urban area where heavier rainfall are projected, especially if we see higher level of global warming. For coastal cities, the combination of extreme sea level increased by both sea level rise and storm surge and extreme rainfall river flow event will increase the probability of flooding. Finally, a warmer climate combined with the urban heat island effect will exacerbate air pollution in cities.
The rising tide's no longer coming. The rising tide is here.
Inviateci le vostre storie a hello@thenormalshow.tv.
Be sure to subscribe on YouTube and on Spotify to get all of the latest from The Normal Show.
The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, is the United Nations body for assessing the science related to climate change. It provides political leaders with periodic scientific assessments concerning climate change, its implication and risk, as well as to put forward adaptation and mitigation strategies. In its last report, published in August, scientists observed changes in the Earth's climate change in every region and across the world climate system. Many of the changes observed in the climate are unprecedented in thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years, and some of the changes already set in motion, such as continued sea level rise, are irreversible over hundreds to thousands of years. The report also provides new estimates of the chances of crossing the global warming level of 1.5 degrees Celsius in the next decades, and finds that unless there are immediate, rapid, and large-scale reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, limiting warming to close 1.5 degrees Celsius or even 2 degrees Celsius will be beyond reach. The report shows that emissions of greenhouse gases from human activities are responsible for approximately 1.1 degrees Celsius of warming since 1850 to 1900, and finds that, average over the next 20 years, global temperature is expected to reach or exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming. For 1.5 degrees Celsius of global warming, there will be increasing heat waves, longer warm seasons, and shorter cold seasons. At 2 degrees Celsius of global warming, heat extremes would more often reach critical tolerance thresholds for agriculture and health, the report shows. But it is not just about temperature. Climate change is bringing multiple different changes in different regions, which will all increase with further warming. These include changes to wetness and dryness, to winds, snow and ice, coastal areas and oceans.
At The Normal Show, we believe in the power of storytelling. So please send us your stories at hello@thenormalshow.tv. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube and on Spotify to get all of the latest from The Normal Show. You like what you see? Well, be sure to like and subscribe so you can always be kept abreast of everything that we've got going on here at The Normal Show. And be sure to join us at thenormalshow.tv.
Forse avete perso qualcuno degli episodi recenti, ma non vi preoccupate, li abbiamo raccolti in una versione più lunga. Questo è The Normal Show.
Here's what 2050 will quite possibly look like if we continue business as usual. You walk outside, the air is hot and heavy. Instead of checking your phone for weather, you check air quality levels. Arctic sea ice, gone. Forests, logged or burnt to the ground. Wildlife is a distant memory. High moisture in the air, higher sea surface temperatures have caused a surge in extreme hurricanes and tropical storms. Coastal cities in Bangladesh, Mexico, the United States and elsewhere have suffered brutal infrastructure damage. Extreme flooding killed thousands, displaced millions. Diseases like malaria, respiratory illnesses and malnutrition are common. Diseases spread by mosquitoes and ticks are rampant. With populations growing denser, antibiotic resistance has intensified. Melting permafrost is releasing ancient microbes that we have never been exposed to and have no resistance to. This is overwhelming healthcare systems. Those who remain at the coast will see the end of fishing. Oceans absorb too much carbon. Marine life cannot survive. The ocean is dead. Droughts and heat waves kill the weak. Vast land has become aridified. If you live in Paris, you will endure summer temperatures that regularly rise to 43.8 degrees Celsius. This is normal. With the increasing refugee crisis, bloodshed will begin over water. Countries will patrol borders to protect resources inside. Food production is unpredictable. Places like Alaska can now grow crops. This could be our reality. I will be 52. What about you?
Time lapses show how the Earth is changing at an alarming rate. They were taken from Google Earth over the span of 37 years and put climate change in a completely new perspective. We need our world's leaders to wake up and do something about the climate crisis now.
It was all yellow.
Scientists say this is what the world is going to look like by 2050. The ice caps are melting, meaning a rise in sea level, meaning cities and homes will be wiped out and underwater. If this doesn't scare you, I don't know what does. We are on the road to being completely wiped out from climate change.
Inviateci le vostre storie a hello@thenormalshow.tv.
The idea of zero carbon emissions by 2050 seems like a plausible solution. But just how realistic is such a goal when many of the richest nations are the biggest culprits when it comes to overextending their fair share of carbon emissions? Author Jason Hickel points out that, according to new research, the United States alone eclipses the rest of the countries in the world when it comes to carbon emissions. Is 2050 a viable goal? And is COP26 our last chance to save the planet from irreversible damage due to climate change and the climate crisis? If nothing else, research points to the fact that richer countries are not necessarily pulling their weight when it comes to reducing their carbon footprint. And as the crisis escalates, developing countries will find themselves in the thick of it. In 2019, China was the biggest emitter of carbon dioxide emissions, almost 30% of the world's total carbon dioxide emissions. And during the Trump administration, the U.S. abandoned the Paris Accords, only to rejoin under the Biden administration. EU emissions declined steadily between 2010 and 2014, after which the trend started slightly increasing again. And in 2020, an economic slowdown, renewable energy growth, and the impact of COVID-19 led to the first year-on-year reduction in India's carbon dioxide emissions in 4 decades. In 2020, Russia's carbon dioxide emissions amounted to 1.48 billion metric tons, marking a decrease relative to the previous year. This is the new reality, and according to the IPCC, the new red line is well beyond past. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube and on Spotify to get all of the latest from The Normal Show. While many might see the IPCC report as a sign of the end times, there's reason not to fret just yet. COP26 is upon us. And at this conference of parties, world leaders have a chance to hammer out solutions as a deadline nears. But what is COP26 and why is it so important? Well, COP26 is a 2-week-long series of conferences, talks, and discussions wherein world leaders gather together to discuss the implemental changes they can make to put an end to climate change and the crisis that stands before us. COP26 stands for Conference of the Parties, and this summit will be attended by countries that signed the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or the UNFCCC, and that was a treaty that came into force in 1994. COP26 is especially pivotal because it is the first conference to take place after the landmark Paris Agreement's measures take effect, and it is the first opportunity since then for all the nations that participated to come together and review their commitments to this fight against the climate crisis. COP26 is essentially a call to arms for all nations to band together in solidarity, especially for those developing countries that are immeasurably affected by climate change, to help them restore their ecosystems, to build defenses and warning systems, and also create resilient infrastructures in agriculture to avoid loss of homes, livelihoods, and especially loss of life.
We urge countries to put an end to coal power by phasing out existing plants, committing not to build any new ones, and putting an end to international coal finance. And we need all investors acting on our shared responsibility to protect our planet. And we need to keep building up the international collaboration at COP26 and indeed beyond it to accelerate the clean energy revolution over this vital decade.